so the question is, what is wrong with the one-state solution? Why can't we just, live together?
Mm, who's going?
This is for both of you. I mean, I can answer it, but
No, I wasn't sure. It's going. Mohammed, you want to go first? Hello, you guys hear me?
About like why?
Yeah.
What are the issues with the two-state solution? Yes.
Number one, I think he said.
Well, our friend, Food for Thought, he asked. Sorry, I actually don't know if he, she, or they, but they asked us what the solution is. What's wrong with a one-state solution? Why both of you think a one-state solution can't work?
Simply because there's not enough common ground. If you hear like now the discussion within academic and practical within academic and practical circles about what is the problem with Western democracies now. For example, what's the problem with the like United States and polarization? They say if there is not enough common ground, democracies get destroyed. So there's not enough common ground already, and the differences are too broad between Palestinians and Israelis when it comes to the way of life, when it comes to how they understand democracy, how they understand community, culture, everything. So, and history, conflict. We can't just be in one democracy.
You think there would be like too much of a demographic battle on
Yes, they
different
would be
issues?
like polarized. If you look at the Knesset, you have like 60 Jewish members and 60 Arab members, and they're like waiting for each other to pass like a bill that is going to rock the other side, and they're going to go.
Yeah.
We see it in Northern Ireland here. Their government, they set like power sharing mechanism, the Stormont executive, as I remember, and from 2017 to 2000 and mid 2020, it was just off. Like it was shut down because they would not agree on anything, just because there are two different ethnic groups, religious.
Daniel, you want to share? Thanks, Mohammed.
Yeah, I completely agree with Mohammed. So yeah, Mohammed's in Ireland currently. So obviously you have the north over there where there was, the troubles for decades, and then they forgot what the name of the peace agreement was. But basically, I think what it
The Good
allowed was
Friday.
Good Friday Agreement, correct? Right. Good reminder. Thanks. So they had the Good Friday Agreement, which I think allowed they remained within the United Kingdom, right? Because the Catholics were trying to join, their brethren in the Republic and unify Ireland, and the Protestants there, who I think I don't know if now, but at the time had a slight majority, wanted to remain part of the United Kingdom. So they had a solution where basically it's like there won't be borders, there'll be like freedom of movement. I think both populations could get Irish citizenship. Um, so especially now, there was a big issue because of the European Brexit and everything. But before, there was like, the ideas with Brexit is like there can't be a hard border, because now it's like, okay, you're not legally under, you don't pay taxes to Ireland, but you could drive there just as if it was part of Ireland, and you have freedom of movement and this. And even with that, there's so much crap and so much conflict. And
Yes, they
if you
hate
want,
each other.
if you want another best case scenario, look at Belgium. I mean, this is like Brussels is like the center of the European Union, and yet within Belgium itself, right? You have the Dutch who live in the north and the French who live in the south, and Brussels is, kind of like their Jerusalem. It's like the center, and it's mixed, and they're constantly never passing anything because both national communities are always boycotting each other. I have a Serbian friend who I talk to a lot about like the Balkans and former Yugoslavia, and so I'm very interested in comparative conflicts because I think it's important to, they say, why do we learn history? To learn from it. So I think it's also the same things with geopolitics. I said basically after the Yugoslav wars, independent Bosnia, which is basically 50% Muslim. So I say Muslim because in Bosnia, there's not really a distinct ethnic group called Bosnians. They're just like South Slavs, like similar to Serbians who like under the Ottomans became Muslim. So they're called like Bosniaks or Muslims. That's like their own community, and they're like 50 to 55%. They have like a slight majority, and the rest of the country are like Croats and Serbs. And the Serbs live in their own area, and it's like a federation. And what it allows is all three communities to have a veto. And apparently they're constantly vetoing each other. Like I think the Bosniaks want recognition of the Serbia, like that the Serbs like massacred, genocided them, and the Serbs boycott that, and then the Serbs who live in their area, I think it's called Republika Srpska, so it's like bordering Serbia. But it's a de jure part of the territory of Bosnia, and they want to like create a more open border. And then the Muslims boycott it, and then the Croats have their. I think maybe it's actually the Croats. They wanted to like recognize that the Croats had like concentration camps against Serbs in World War II, and they're boycotting it. So there's like. It's you just see in everywhere, even like I said, Belgium, best case scenario, first world country, wealthy, center of European Union, they just don't get along. So how much more so in like our conflict, which is more like, I think the better parallel is like Azerbaijan and Armenia. They're not exactly friends. What happened with Azerbaijan and Armenia, it was this crazy story, but for example, there was this Armenian and Azeri soldier. I think they were doing a program in Hungary for some international organization, NATO, even though they're not part of NATO, like, I don't know, maybe it was NATO coordination. And there was an Azeri soldier who went in the middle of the night and just hacked to death and beheaded an Armenian who was doing the program with him. They went by for days, no issues. He just randomly went into his room, and then he went with his axe to another room and was trying to. He was like, their roommates were there, and he's like, I don't want to harm anyone else. I'm just looking for Armenians. Like, he didn't harm anyone else, and he was trying to go to someone else's room. He was going to kill another Armenian on the program, but the door was locked. And this is the more comparable, scenario. Like there was this famous thing with during the Second Intifada where two soldiers, made a wrong turn and they ended up in Ramallah, and then there was just a lynching, and then there was like a famous picture where the guy put his hands up, and I would say that when I study these other conflicts, I guess the reassuring thing is I realized that like. I have this like generational thing of like Jews, like everyone's always killing. We're always trying to survive. And, as a grandchild of Holocaust survivors, like this is the mentality. But then when I see these other conflicts, it's like, okay, this is still true. We're still always trying to survive. But like, at least like, it's like rational, and this not rational in the sense that I agree with the logic behind it, but in the sense that I see the psychological human dynamic in these other conflicts. So I personally think that Jews and Arabs are a lot more compatible culturally and theologically. And this is my experience. I've never had an issue, but that's because like I'm aware of the culture. I study, not that I'm particularly good at it, but like, I study Arabic, and I sometimes talk with people in a little bit of Arabic, and I know a lot about Islam. So like these people. In my personal individual experience, I've noticed that there's a lot of compatibility. I think more so than some of these other conflicts. But on a national level, I just see it more like the Azerbaijan Armenian thing. And yeah, there has to be reconciliation, but in the process where we could breathe and normalize, and not just because it won't happen organically. There has to be some room for separation and breathing, and then like gradual. Yeah.
Absolutely. Can I
Yeah.
like grab just summarize 3 quick steps, what I think?
Yeah, well, I want to add one more thing to the one state, and then you can say what you want to say, and that those will be your final thoughts. Just one thing: why one state currently is probably the least viable solution. It's important to understand that no country, no people feel comfortable becoming a demographic minority, going from being a majority to a minority. And part of the trauma that Palestinians have is exactly that. It's being a demographic majority and then becoming a minority. So this is something that's true across the board. No one wants to become a demographic minority, but taking into account that it's not only becoming a demographic minority, it's becoming a demographic minority amongst people who you have 100 years of conflict with. And then add to that centuries of collective trauma from persecution, pogroms, and genocides. Getting Israelis to agree to a one-state solution, which would create a demographic issue, it's so unrealistic. It's not even worth consideration at this point. That being said, after a few generations of peace and living amongst one another as brothers and sisters, then it is viable. But it's not. We won't start with a one-state solution. We could end with it.